Good morning, everybody. Oh, come on. Good morning, everybody. That was the Secretary of Education. Right. Sit still. Keep your hands to yourself. Okay. Gil mentioned the true St. Nicholas. It is a book about the true St. Nicholas, the origins of Santa Claus. He was a real person, a real saint, a bishop of the church, my church, a good bishop of the church, unlike some today. A true and faithful bishop, so you might find it worthwhile. I have serious business to talk to you about this morning. We're in serious times, but I'm going to start with a joke. I have noticed among really intelligent people that the really smart ones like really corny jokes. So to impress you with how smart I am, I have a really corny joke. The president, while in North Carolina hugging that boy, the boy's friend was there and took out a water pistol. Well, the sign of any kind of gun, Secret Service reacts, and one of the Secret Service agents yelled, "Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse!" Situation ended, it was over. Supervisor came up to the Secret Service agent and said, "What the heck are you doing? What's Mickey Mouse?" He said, "I meant Donald Duck and I got confused." So that's really bad. And my appreciation of it suggests I'm really smart, right? Or maybe not. I don't have to tell you that we are now in an odd and stressful time. I speak about the American people, and I speak about our president. So we are here with this man, and let's be honest, this man is bluff, cantankerous, occasionally brutish, occasionally uncouth, often raffish, thin-skinned, tempestuous, sometimes even impulsive, would you say? He is often unpolished and sometimes indelicate. And he is doing wonderful things for this country. And for its citizens, and for its children, and for the unborn, and for our prosperity and our safety and our well-being, and for the idea and the reality of a true sovereign nation. And yet daily he is subject to an unparalleled degree and measure of assault, obloquy, character assassination, and contumely. Unlike anyone who has preceded him, all 43 of them, by the way, excuse me, former professor, it is 43, not 44, because Grover Cleveland was both the 22nd and the 24th president of the United States, and he is the same person each time, more or less. So 44 presidencies, but only 43 different presidents or people. I digress. Mrs. Frankfurter used to say of Justice Frankfurter, "Felix makes two mistakes when he speaks. First, he digresses from his text, and second, he returns to it." I repeat, this president is subject to an unparalleled degree and measure of assault, obloquy, character assassination, and contumely, unlike anyone who has gone before him, and unlike any of the 43 before. He is daily, routinely, and habitually condemned by his political opponents, both within his own party and unanimously by the other party, by the mass media, by the established bastions of power in Washington, by the intellectuals, the pundits, the academics, and many of those who are just filled with their own deep grievance of one sort or another. Grievance against life, or against men, or against God, or against family, or even against America. And the weapons, scurrilous books, anonymous editorials, a subversive leadership of a government law enforcement agency, corrupt intelligence officials. Even now we learn perhaps the wearing of hidden wires in the Oval Office of his own people. But he withstands. And he gets up in the morning early, and yes, often has, by the book, an unhealthy but excellent breakfast. I have seen it in person. He once offered me a pure pork sausage link off his plate. Those of you who know me, Gary Bauer, did I take it? Yes. Yes. No hesitation from my undersecretary. When I'm taking food from Bauer, that's really bad, isn't it? And after that cholesterol load, the president tweets, sometimes shrewdly, sometimes not. And yes, he watches some TV. And then he goes to work in his office, or in the flooded shallows of North Carolina, or in Singapore, or at our border with Mexico. He's an imperfect man with an imperfect past. And who knows of his future? No one. And as has been well said, every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. So we shall see. But we must add that of both sinner and saint, and of all of us in between, we all have a present. What does that present tell us about this president? It tells us, among other things, this. He has expanded the Mexico City policy forbidding funding of international aid programs that promote abortion. Earlier this year, he created a new Conscience and Religious Freedom Division in the Department of Health and Human Services Office of Civil Rights to enforce both existing laws protecting the rights of conscience for medical personnel. And he has nominated and had confirmed 18 district and appellate judges likely sympathetic to the right to life. He has authorized a letter to the states that makes it easier for them to exclude Planned Parenthood facilities from their Medicaid programs. He has proposed regulations to allow healthcare providers to refuse to perform services that conflict with their religious and moral beliefs. As he said from the Rose Garden to the marchers on the day of the Right to Life March, in my administration, we will always defend the very first right in the Declaration of Independence, and that is the right to life. Anything else? You bet, plenty. I realize what I've done here this morning is not the usual order, so let's revert to the normal script. Nearly 3 million new jobs have been created since he took office. He has restored confidence in the American economy. Confidence among both consumers and businesses has reached a historic high. He has rolled back unnecessary job-killing regulations beyond even his expectations and promises. 100 different days have each marked a record for the Dow since he became president. He has kept promises there and elsewhere. He has, in fact, as promised, moved the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. He has, in fact, as promised, ordered an end to United States participation in the atrocious Iran deal. And he has begun the process of reimposing sanctions on Iran, sanctions that have been lifted or waived. He has canceled all involvement in the derisory International Criminal Court. He has, as promised, withdrawn from the Paris Accords on climate change. And he has secured historic increases in defense spending to rebuild our proud military with the resources that it needs after years of harmful reductions and sequester. Believe me, this father of a United States Marine who stands before you, I am thankful for that. And he has tried mightily to fulfill a major set of promises on other things. Despite obstruction from Congress, he has worked to take control of our border and to change our immigration laws and to enforce sensibly the laws on the books. He has called on Congress to provide the resources needed to secure those borders, which they have not done. He wants that wall, and I do not believe he will give up trying to get that wall. And this man, yes, this imperfect man, has done something which I said during the campaign to friends who are now never Trumpers and maybe not friends anymore, which which I said during the campaign would be all by itself sufficient to guarantee my vote for him. Not only has he confirmed the most circuit court judges of any president in his first year, circuit court judges of a conservative bent, he has, and this was and is to me, still at once a necessary and sufficient condition of getting my support. He has nominated and had confirmed a conservative judge, Neil Gorsuch, to become Justice Gorsuch of the United States Supreme Court. And I believe if the Senate, to follow Margaret Thatcher's advice, do not go wobbly, if the Senate does not go wobbly, he will gain the confirmation of Judge to Justice Brett Kavanaugh as well. May I note that in this process of the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh, you see all the ugliness, malignity, treachery, and duplicity of the president's opponents. It is right out there in the open, in public. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, as Justice Brandeis said, and we are observing by its illumination the depths to which his opponents will go to defeat him and the men and women he has chosen. Let us hope the sunlight does its work. Late last night, I received a text from my son. It was one page that someone had put together. It's a one-page text, and though brief, it tells a profound story. It contrasts two men. One, a man accused when he was a young man in his teens of being forceful and overly aggressive with a woman. No proof is offered. This man is reviled by the left and declared guilty. The other man was a man of the United States Senate. Drunk, he drives his car off a bridge into the water while a young woman is with him. He leaves her to drown and to die. He later decides to run for president and is called the Lion of the Senate by that same left, and he is celebrated. That is all you need to know about the present situation and the left. Let me end where I began, and I give up the remainder of my time to the fabulous Mark Meadows who will follow. I end where I began. Here we are with this guy from Queens. I'm from Brooklyn. I know how to talk to him. Sort of. He said, I'll give you 3 minutes. I said, I need 5. He said, turned to people around him and said, oh, Bill Bennett said I need 5. I guess I got to give him 5. I guess I better give him 5. Last year, he preceded me to this podium. I followed him, and as he walked off, I said, thanks for warming the crowd up for me, Mr. President. I know, a little fresh, but that's Brooklyn, that's Queens. Anyway, I know this guy. I end where I began. Here we are with this bluff, cantankerous, occasionally brutish, occasionally uncouth, raffish, tough-talking, thin-skinned, tempestuous, unpolished, and yes, sometimes indelicate leader who is doing great things for this country and its citizens, for its children, for its unborn, for its prosperity and its safety and its well-being. But alas, as has been said, this is too often a story never told in the media. Now you take a man in the totality of his actions. Shakespeare says of Antony, his taints and honors waged equal with him. His taints and honors waged equal with him. What of our president's balance between taints and honors? For me, the honors of the president vastly outweigh the taints. And they outweigh the taints and alleged taints of both the past and the present. Vastly, I am with him. Thank you.